During the darkest days of the Cultural Revolution, a 12-year-old boy named Love Liu wonders what life is like beyond the region of Xinjiang in China's remote northwest. Here, conformity is valued above all else, and suspicion governs every exchange among neighbors, classmates, and even friends. Into this stifling atmosphere comes a tall, elegant teacher from Shanghai with an English dictionary tucked under his arm. Surprising even himself, and for reasons he doesn't quite understand, Love Liu throws himself into studying English as a whole new world opens up before him and his life is changed forever. English by Wang. Coming from Viking in winter 2009. What inspired you to write English?
It all started with one man's death. That was my English teacher. His death compelled me to write this novel. In 1999, when I returned to my hometown, Urumqi, my former classmate asked me, "Do you know Wang Yajun died?" As I walked around Urumqi, so many memories came back to me along with the falling snow. The days when I was learning English from him, the friendship between us. While he was grown up, and I only a child. He treated me as his equal, and this, you must know, was quite an incredible thing back then in China. When I visited my former middle school, all the teachers I met were younger than I was. Suddenly, it dawned on me that I too was getting on with age. At that moment, I felt all was still so quiet that the sound in the air as if coming out of my own ears. I realized I could no longer see or talk with my English teacher, no longer rubber my most inner feelings with him. I had just turned 40 years old. The only way to talk with him was through writing a novel. Today, I really hope he would learn from up there that the novel English would be published in America, an English-speaking country.
You've published several novels in China. In your opinion, what is it about this novel in particular that made it so successful with the Chinese reading public?
I have published 2 novels and many novellas and short stories in China. English is my favorite because it was my childhood memory of this English church that my teacher and I both built. And the novel brought this church right in front of our eyes in the noise time we're living today. You may not understand why I called it church. Let me explain. When I was growing up during the Cultural Revolution, China was suffocating. There was no culture. Nothing was interesting. Everything was under strict control. So learning English became the only joy for us. It was not only a language. It almost became a religion for us. It represented everything that was beautiful in the world. In many Chinese novels about the Generation Revolution by the writers of the older generation, characters are divided by the good and the bad. The good is very good. The bad is extremely bad. In my writings of the past, I tend to pray for the good and plead for the bad. I don't harbor hatred as many of the old generation. Instead, I am full of sorrow and sympathy. It was sorrow and sympathy in the novel English that moved and touched the Chinese readers of my own generation. I hope it will touch you, the reader who were born with English as your mother tongue.
Your depiction of the 12-year-old protagonist, Love Liu, really captures the essence of a boy in the throes of early adolescence. How did you manage to portray that unique mix of fragility, impetuousness, and thirst for experience so accurately?
That's because it was me. I was writing about my own feelings. Children of any country have their own emotion world. Thank you for your assessment of this child.
The unique flavor of Xinjiang province adds an intriguing sense of local color to the novel. What made you decide to set the story there, and how were you able to capture the feel of that culturally distinct part of China?
Xinjiang is my hometown. I was born there. My father died there. My son was born there. My old mother is still living there. My childhood and teenage years were spent there. And it was also in Xinjiang my wife and I met, falling in love, and got married. As I write, how can you not write about the story in your hometown? I am not a tourist in Xinjiang. I am a child of Xinjiang, growing up on the waterfront of snow-capped mountains. It's all very natural for me to write about Xinjiang as she is literally inside me.
Thank you, Mr. Wang. Around May of that year, the city of Urumqi was bathing happily in the sunlight cascading down from the Tian Shan mountains. Like a fluttering snowflake, I drifted into the classroom through the window, then sat down and stared out at the snow and the sun. Urumqi is often like that. Sunlight mingled with snowflakes splashes right onto your face. This was springtime in Urumqi, when you know-it-alls from the other side of the pass have already begun to tire of looking at your peach blossoms and your open fields. No one called out for us to stand when Ajitai walked in. The classroom was like the wilds by a river, and we were buzzing little insects. Ajitai walked forward a few steps. Then Garbage Li cried out, and our eyes all turned toward our teacher. We hadn't expected Ajitai would actually come. I had put her chances at less than 50%. Ajitai stood on the podium, tears running down her face as she got ready to speak. You should have guessed already that all the boys were sad that day because Ajitai was leaving. She was beautiful, her skin snowy white. She was a double turner. I should explain. Double turner is a term from Urumqi that means the mother is Uyghur and the father Han Chinese, or the other way around. We had stopped learning Russian the year before, and from that day we would not be learning Uyghur. We weren't really interested in any language. We were interested only in women like Ajitai. She might have been a teacher, but her neck and her tears were things I yearned for at dawn much more than the sun. Ajitai was leaving. Can you imagine what that meant to us? She scanned the classroom. At that moment, all the boys held their breath as if awaiting a verdict. There had recently been rumors about Ajitai. Someone even said she had boarded a truck and, sitting up next to the driver, gone to Kashgar, where her mother is from. But rumors are just that. Here she was, standing on the podium, so Garbage Li was right. She would still teach the last class.